So recently I purchased Dragon Age the Veilguard. I'll admit I was pretty skeptical at first given all the internet backlash, but if you listen to everything the internet says, your life will probably spiral downward. Everyone has their own views on games, which I totally respect, but I wanted to get my own unbiased take here. Is the game really that bad, or is it just the internet being the internet? We've seen this before with games like Rise of the Ronin, so let's see if the backlash is justified this time. A big part of the backlash comes from people who feel like the game has gone too woke, criticizing elements like the addition of pronouns, surgery scars and character creation, and dialogue that touch on trans topics. Now me personally, I don't see this as deal breakers, it's all optional, and to me it doesn't affect the gameplay itself, but I get why some players feel like this doesn't fit in the world of Dragon Age. Now I touched on this whole woke topic in my second channel. Click the annotation, you can watch that video right there. Then there's the skepticism around the fact that many reviewers didn't get early copies of the game. People often assume that if a game doesn't offer early review copies, it must be terrible. But we've seen in the past that's far from the truth. Games like Max Payne 2, Shadow of Mordor, and even Doom 2016 didn't give early review copies and turned out amazing. So that really didn't spook me either. So I walked into this with a clear mind and I didn't care about none of the internet backlash. I wanted to give my take and see, is this game as bad as people saying it is? Now look, I played the previous Dragon Age games, so I was pretty hyped for this one. And just to set the record straight, I ain't willing to give a fair review on any game, no matter the IP or nostalgia factor. So let's break down the Veilguard step by step. First things first, the character creator. It's really good. They nailed it with diverse options, including actual black hairstyles. Not the Miles haircut, no. They had actual black hairstyles, so you can create a unique and great looking character. And anyone who knows me knows I love making a sexy ass character. Look at her, she's so fine. You have many choices to create a really cool in-depth character. Now I've seen some people getting upset over the inclusion of they them pronouns and certain options like the surgery scars and character creation. And here's my take. You don't have to put that on your character. You can completely ignore that. That's not a hindrance to you. If that's not what you want, you don't have to use those options. Other games are starting to include this, and honestly it doesn't bother me. Make your character how you want to make your character. Those things are for those set of people that want to make those characters. You don't have to subscribe to those same beliefs and same thing. You can make your character the way you want to and let other people make the character they want to make. The only thing I care about is that my character can look like a mix of Janae Aiko and Salma Hayek. That's all I'm here for. A lot of people are also complaining about the dialogue. Now I'll admit, jumping into the game, there is some cringy dialogue in there, and it doesn't always fit the Dragon Age world. But does it ruin the game? Not as much as you think. I feel like people are treating this like it's dialogue straight out of the Barbie movie. And if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. The dialogue was atrocious. I still wake up in cold sweats thinking about it.
With no specific object. What is that?
It's anxiety. I have it too. They're just awful at this age.
I feel amazing.
That's because kids don't take it out on the dads.
Oh, I don't think that's true. Many of the story building moments are taken really serious, and I think that's more the importance. While sometimes it gets goofy, I'll probably say 80% of the dialogue was serious, story building dialogue, whilst the 20% of the dialogue was cringe banter as their way of being funny, which is done by mainly one character, Balara. She is probably the worst written character in the game. It's like they model her after Aquafina's vibe, and honestly, the Elven God should have punished her for that. Her dialogue is something straight out of a Disney Channel movie.
And it seems like they want to destroy the world.
Oh, yes, that is very much for the worse.
And yeah, it might turn some players off, but as far as me, I tend to zone out when those characters come on screen. And look, I dealt with worse dialogue in games. Monster Hunter World's Handler comes to mind. Now here's where they really shined at. The combat. It's genuinely good. In previous Dragon Age games, you can switch between party members, but here, they refined the combat to make it feel more fluent and fun. Honestly, this is the best part of the game and probably the main reason I keep playing it for so long. The combat absolutely carries the Veilguard. And one thing I love is great combat. Gold Star Dragon Age, Gold Star. You can use different classes and different weapons and different attacks. It is so fun. It doesn't feel as repetitive as I thought it would have been, but it actually plays really fine. And I think a lot of guys and a lot of people will walk into this game playing the combat, and y'all guys will absolutely love it. You guys will love the combat. It's really fun. Another good thing the game does is world building. Now it's a bit of a double-edged sword. The story and lore building are spot on. Veilguard really feels like it expands the Dragon Age world, but some environments could have been a bit more interactive, which would add that extra layer of immersion. Dragon Age has never been strictly open world, but with a little more interactivity would have been a nice touch. It's a minor nitpick though. After all, we can't expect every game to be that level of detailed, but for those that do it, they deserve all the money. Now the thing I've been wanting to save for last is the story. Now without spoiling anything, the main story takes around 20 to 30 hours if you're skipping side quests, and it flows pretty well. I stayed engaged and never felt bored, but I wish the game had added more variety in dialogue choices and perhaps even alternate endings. It would have given players more incentive to replay. As it stands, I think most players would do 2 playthroughs, but more choice-based variety could have added even more replay value. The story itself has some cool moments and is solid overall, but I wanted more catastrophe, more impact. They do make an effort to create emotional depth through relationships and friendships, which is a start, but it could have been taken further. Maybe certain relationships could have actively influenced your character's choices or even affect major events in the story. That kind of depth would have elevated the experience, making the relationships feel more meaningful. But overall, the story has a good flow and enough key moments to keep you invested. Is this game as bad as the internet makes it seem? No. Will long-term Dragon Age fans feel let down? Possibly, since Veilguard feels less like a classic Dragon Age game and more like Dragon Dogma Dark Arisen. It seems geared towards casual players, and while I believe focusing on the core audience should have always been a priority, I still recommend the game. Wait for a sale, pick it up and see for yourself. On the SirKalid scale, Dragon Age the Veilguard scores a 7.5 out of 10. It offers fun gameplay and a solid story, and with a few quality of life improvements, it could have been something truly exhilarating. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. And as always, have a blessed day, be the best person you can be, and remember, the world is a better place with you in it. This has been a SirKalid production, signing off.